Today we are going to learn about the quadratic formula. This is the quadratic formula. And in order to use the quadratic formula, there's a few things you have to do. First, you need to write the equation in standard form. This is what standard form looks like. Next, you need to identify A, B, and C. Once you identify A, B, and C, you're going to substitute it into the quadratic formula. So let's identify A, B, and C. What is our A value for this example? 1. Your A value is 1. What is your B value? 2. You see the B right here? The 2 is in the place of where the B is. So your B value is 2. What is your C value? Very good, negative 63. Okay, so we identified A, B, and C. So this is the quadratic formula. You have to memorize this. And an easy way to memorize the quadratic formula is you can sing it to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel. So this is x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, my high school teacher made us memorize that song. All right, so you can sing it to yourself. I still sing it to myself. All right, something you need to notice about this formula is that it has this b squared minus 4ac. Do you guys remember what that is called? Yes, it's called the discriminant. Okay, so guys, let's go ahead and find the discriminant. The discriminant, we learned about it the other day, is b squared minus 4ac. Let's figure out what that is and plug it into the quadratic formula. So b is 2, right here. Your b value is 2. Let's plug in a and c. This is your a value, 1, and your c value is negative 63. You may use a calculator. What I always advise students to do is to box these last 3 numbers. Leave that minus sign on the outside and box those 3 numbers. What is 4 times 1? 4. What is 4 times negative 63? 252, but that's not completely correct. It should be negative, okay? 4 times 1 is a positive 4. 4 times a negative 63 is a negative 252. So that's what the value of this box was. There is still a minus sign outside of the box, and 2 squared is 4. Okay, so guys, notice I now have 2 negative signs. What does this become? Yes, so this will be 4 plus 252, which is 256. So guys, this is your discriminant. B squared minus 4ac is 256. So let's go ahead and plug that into the quadratic formula. So let me write this down for you. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root. Then we're going to put the discriminant underneath the square root symbol. That's 256 all over 2a. Based off of the discriminant, do you remember what kind of solutions we'll have? Our discriminant is positive. Yep, we're going to have 2 real solutions, 2 real numbers. Okay, let's go ahead and finish substituting. So everyone erase the b value, and what will I put there? Notice I did not erase the negative sign. The negative sign is a part of your formula. It will stay there. Do not erase that negative sign. We're going to plug in a 2. So it became a negative 2. I'm going to erase this a and plug in a 1. So let's go ahead and simplify this. X equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 256. Everyone grab your calculator. Yes, it is 16. Let me show you guys, once we get bigger numbers, you're going to have to use a calculator. So guys, use the square root, hit the square root button. It's going to come with a parenthesis on the inside. You're going to plug in 256. You need to close the parenthesis in order to get a number. If you don't close the parenthesis, it's going to give you an error. So guys, what is the square root of 256? 16. So we'll put that right there. All right, let's finish this. 2 times 1 is 2. All right, so we're almost done. We have 2 answers. We know we have 2 answers because our discriminant is positive. So I know I'm going to have 2 answers. So let me highlight what I'm looking at. What is negative 2 plus 16? 14. Divided by 2 is what? 7. So one answer is 7. Let's find the other answer. I'm going to highlight again. What is negative 2 minus 16? Negative 18. Then divided by 2. Negative 9. So that is my other answer. Negative 9. You have 2 answers. Let's try another example. Let's do this one. In order to use the quadratic formula, your quadratic equation needs to be in standard form. Remember, standard form looks like this. ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So I need to have it equal to 0. What should I do first? Yes, we're going to move the 4 to this side. When you move something across the equal sign, the sign will change. So now this is a minus 4. Okay, we're almost done. We can simplify this a little bit more. What's 7 minus 4? 3. Okay, so now it is in standard form. Now that it is in standard form, we're going to identify A, B, and C. So what is my A value? Negative 8. What is my B value? 0. We do not have a B value. There's nothing there in the middle. What is my C value? 3. Okay, now we're going to find the discriminant. So we're going to have b squared minus 4ac. So your b value is 0 squared minus 4. Your a value is negative 8. Your c value is 3. As usual, guys, I encourage you to put the last 3 numbers in a box, because a lot of people get the negative signs confused. There's already a negative sign out here. Let's figure out what these numbers are. So what's 4 times negative 8? Negative 32. What's negative 32 times 3? Negative 96. Okay, so that's what the value of this box is. I also have a minus sign on the outside, and 0 squared is just 0. So notice, guys, I now have 2 negative signs. That becomes 0 plus 96, which is just 96. So, guys, my discriminant is positive. What does that mean? Yep, I'm going to have 2 solutions. Okay, so let's go ahead and use the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus square root all over 2a. I'm going to put my discriminant under the square root symbol. Okay, I can erase this b value and put a 0 there. And I can erase the a value and put a negative 8 there. Okay, so let's simplify. I have x equals, does this 0 really matter? 0 is nothing. I don't really need that. So I have plus or minus square root of 96 all over 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Okay, so guys, let's go ahead and simplify the square root of negative 96. I'm sorry, the square root of 96. Let's simplify that. Can y'all give me two numbers that can give you 96? Okay, good. 8 times 12. Let's break down this 8. 4 times 2. Can we break down this 12? 4 and 3. Do you guys see a pair? Perfect. So this is 4 times a 4 times a 2 times a 3. So here's a pair of 4s. Cross it out. It'll go outside. What's left over on the inside? 6. 2 times 3 is 6. So square root of 96 can be simplified as 4 square root of 16. So I'll have x equals plus or minus 4 square root of 6 divided by negative 16. Okay, what can I divide by, guys? Yep, let's divide by 4. Ignore the square root part. We cannot divide the inside of that, but let's divide the outside. So I can divide this 4 by a 4, and I can divide this 16, this negative 16, by a 4. So this will be x equals 4 divided by 4 is just 1. And negative 16 divided by 4 is a negative 4. So this is your answer. Okay, you guys are trying this problem. I'm going to put the answer on the board. Once you're finished doing it, look up here on the board and see if you're doing it correctly. Did everyone get to the discriminant? Did you guys get negative 20? Perfect. Since my discriminant is negative, what do you know about my final answers? Yes, you guys are going to have 2 imaginary solutions. That means our answer at the end, when we find our solutions, they're going to have an I in them. That's what the discriminant tells you. You're going to have 2 imaginary solutions. Okay, so now we can use the quadratic formula. Keep working. Don't look up here unless you're extremely confused. Try it on your own.
You did it like simplified so and then it's like what comes to mind is you don't have to like that you don't have to like
Okay, you guys should have gotten here. Once you get here, let me show you how I want you to simplify. Okay, so we're going to divide this number, and this number all by the same thing. What can all three of those numbers be divided by? 2. Let's go ahead and divide it by a -2 because I would like these to be positive. Okay, I don't want a negative in the denominator. So I'm going to divide these by a negative. So divide this by a -2. What will that become? 4. So let me write it. We'll get 4 plus or minus. What is a 2 divided by a -2? -1. This is where a lot of people get confused. We'll just write it for now. Okay, the denominator. Divide this by -2. What will you get? A 3. Guys, we do not need this extra negative sign right here. Okay, because there's already both versions of 1 are accounted for. You can have a +1 or a -1. It's already accounted for right here. So you don't need that extra negative sign. So the sign of this number right here, it doesn't really matter because you have a plus or a minus sign anyway. Okay, so just for example, let me give you something bizarre. If this was 100, it doesn't matter if you put a negative sign right there. You already have +100 being represented, and you also have -100 being represented. Okay, so just put a regular number there. The sign does not matter because you already have a plus and a minus sign there. Okay, so this is your final answer.
And when you're like simplifying.
Hold on 1 second. If we look back at this example, I would not count this wrong. This is just a lot of signs right here, okay? What I would do, let me clear some of this off so that we have some space. What I would do with this problem, okay, so this is what we had. Let me back it up to this step right here. Let me back it up to here. And let me erase this part. Okay, this is what we had before we simplified. This is what we had. Okay, so let's simplify this. I would divide this by a -4, and I would divide this by a -4. So we'll have plus or minus. What is 4 divided by a -4? It's -1, but it doesn't really matter. Just put a regular 1 there. You don't need the extra negative sign because I already have this symbol here, okay? And then this will stay the same. And then -16 divided by a -4 would be a +4. So your final answer would look like this. Okay, that's a little more simpler looking. Again, if you put what we originally had, which was like a plus minus square root of 6 over -4, that's not wrong.
And same for the other one, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Because I had negative.
The only thing is, if I gave you a multiple choice test or something like that, you'll see this as an answer choice before you would see this as an answer choice, because that just has so many signs.
Yeah.
Okay.